very much. In lieu of applause, I'll take that. That actually is the Belle from Ottawa Streetcar 696. They came down to be with us today, and unfortunately that's all that's left of their streetcar. But it's still quite a sight to be seen in Ottawa. So, thank you very much for being here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Especially thank you to Mother Nature for giving us this glorious day. Got a one-man cheering section. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gordon Orr. I'm proud to be the CEO of Tourism Windsor Essex Peely Island. I'm proud to be here today with all of you on Windsor's beautiful waterfront for the official opening of Windsor's newest tourism attraction, of course, the Legacy Beacon and the unveiling of Streetcar No. 351. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of the First Nations, which includes the Ojibwa, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi. The City of Windsor honors all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. Today, we celebrate a piece of Windsor's history and a shining beacon of our community's bright future. We couldn't be happier to be here to welcome the community to this inspiring new space. First up, our speakers today is a tireless champion for all that Windsor is and has to offer, and also a major promoter of our arts and culture and heritage and our shared history. Please welcome His Worship, Mayor Drew Dilkens.
Thank you very much, Gordon. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let's get this at the right height. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Glad to be here with all of you. What an exciting day. It's so exciting. My mother came out today. She's so excited about the streetcar. Mom, thanks for being here. It's great. It's an honor today to be with all of you. On behalf of my colleagues on City Council, many of whom are here today, as we celebrate a major investment in Windsor's waterfront. Welcome to the grand opening of the Legacy Beacon and the unveiling of Streetcar No. 351. This project would not have been possible without the generosity of our donors and our sponsors, the exceptional work of our construction, our design teams, and the steadfast dedication of City Council, 3 City Councils to be honest, and City Administration. And I'd like to begin by talking about the focal point of the Legacy Beacon, Streetcar No. 351. U.S. and Canadian cities built between 1800 and 1945 were streetcar cities, and Windsor was home to Canada's first electric streetcar system back in 1886. The first streetcar company in Windsor, the Sandwich and Windsor Passenger Railway, was essentially a horse-drawn carriage along what is now University Avenue, and it started in 1874. That evolved into what many of you know what became the Sandwich, Windsor and Amherstburg Railway, or otherwise called SW&A. SW&A would go on to become Transit Windsor in the 1970s. Electric streetcars ran on Tecumseh Road, Wyandotte Street, Olette Avenue, Parent, College, Lincoln Road, Seminole and Erie Streets, as well as the Sandwich line that ran down University Avenue. Streetcar 351 is an important artifact in the story of Windsor's transportation history. Built in 1918 by the Cincinnati Car Company, the streetcar is 50 feet long. It weighs just over 24,000 pounds. It is believed that cars 351 to 354 were purchased by the SW&A as used vehicles around 1926 from the Public Service of New Jersey. Car 351, originally painted yellow, proudly donned a vibrant red coat in Windsor, blushing with pride and transporting many citizens across the rapidly evolving landscape. The last streetcars stopped running in Windsor on May the 7th, 1939. And when the era of electric streetcars came to an end and electric buses took over, the remaining streetcars, including Streetcar 351, were sold off for $100 each. Some cars moved to different areas for different purposes, some moved to the water and were used as cottages. Local railway historian, who you're going to hear from in a few minutes, Bernie Drulard, and his friend John Stefani, who are both with us today, discovered car 351 in Belle River with a cottage built around it nearly 2 decades ago. In 2015, local businessman Van Nifferis and the late George Sophos were looking for a streetcar of their own. Bernie connected them when they purchased the dusty hulk comprised of rotting wood panels and rusted steel, with plans to restore it and make it a feature attraction at a restaurant that they were planning on University Avenue. In 2017, the City of Windsor was celebrating its 125th birthday, and at that time, construction was underway on the new Sandwich Town roundabout, where we were installing statues to celebrate Chief Tecumseh and General Brock. And during construction of that project, they uncovered old streetcar tracks. And I asked contractors at that time to set a few sections aside, and I connected with Van and George to share my vision. And I knew that only 3 of these streetcars, 3 of the 210, Bernie? About 210. About 210 streetcars that operated in Windsor between 1886 and 1939. Only 3 were left, and 2 were unavailable to us. Van and George agreed to donate the streetcar to the city, with George later saying, "I'd just like my grandchildren to pass by there and say, oh, my grandfather was involved in that just a little bit." And that same year, council accepted the donation and endorsed the streetcar's restoration. The intricate restoration work was carried out by the skilled artists at RM Auto Restorations in Chatham. With that work underway, City Council undertook extensive public consultation and asked the public, where do you want the streetcar to go when it comes back to Windsor? 77% of respondents said, put it on the waterfront. And so City Council approved a recommendation that saw Streetcar 351 would make its final home in a new riverfront gathering space, complete with viewing platform, with patio, food and beverage services, restrooms, and a facility to house a streetcar. And of course, that brings us to today. Work has been underway for more than a year to construct the Legacy Beacon, to install Streetcar 351, and to prepare this site for public access and enjoyment. Inside, you will find the meticulously restored streetcar in all of its glory. Around Car 351 is a corresponding historical exhibition, researched and created by Chris Reno and HCA Mindbox in partnership with Museum Windsor. This exhibit, titled Streetcar 351, Windsor and the Story of Public Transit on Rails, is a permanent feature of this site and includes information on the first electric streetcar in Canada, Canada's first electric streetcar motorman, Lyndon Clark Brooks, whose descendants included Patricia and Neely McCurdy. Are they here with us today? Is Patricia here? Patricia, you're over there. I see them pointing to you. Patricia is here with us today. You'll see the story of Lyndon Clark Brooks, who was the first motorman of the electric streetcar in the city of Windsor. It talks about the origins of Transit Windsor. It talks about the restoration of Car 351. You'll even see some of the old parts, and you'll say, how the heck did they ever restore what we gave to RM Restorations? And I want to thank my colleagues on current city council, past city councils. As I said, this has survived the test of 3 city councils. It has been like crawling through the glass to get this beacon built. But we got it through. There's been lots of debate on how to best move forward with this project. But we couldn't let the last of Windsor streetcars disappear out of reach. Each step of the way, we remain focused on a shared commitment to our identity, our civic memory, our history, and our vibrant public spaces. We agreed to give Car 351 a new chapter, which is exactly what we've written together here at the Legacy Beacon. In selecting this site, we considered Windsor's Central Riverfront Implementation Plan. As a conceptual plan for the development of the waterfront, it provides design and high-level guidance for riverfront works, including the construction of 5 beacons across the area. The beacons are meant to be a point of interest and attraction along our riverfront, along the 6-kilometer stretch of our riverfront, and offers a public art, multi-use trails, playgrounds, sightseeing areas, and more, while providing, of course, appropriate services for the public as they make use of the riverfront and its amenities. And this site is an ideal location for the streetcar, partly because we're situated adjacent to the historical railway tunnel and original station tower entrance. This project is part of the city's $2.24 billion 10-year capital plan, and that plan invests more than $186 million in city parks and recreation assets and amenities across the community. The project also ties into Strengthen the Core, Downtown Windsor Revitalization Plan, and the Windsor Works Economic Development Strategy. And we are investing in the creation of a vibrant district on the waterfront, infrastructure and amenities to attract and to support our growing and our evolving community. We are literally transforming our landscape, celebrating our history, and creating points of interest for residents and visitors alike. And we're doing it while investing record amounts in roads and sewers and parks and, of course, public transit. Because city building is about projects that overlap and intertwine, that complement one another and strengthen the broader community. It's about initiatives that focus on investment, growth, and sustainability while keeping quality of life top of mind. And I want to pause here to thank our sponsors, our donors, partners, without whom this project would not have been possible. And sincere thanks to our sponsors and donors, including David and Greg Pedler from Bob Pedler Real Estate Limited Brokerage, Your TV Cogeco, Enwin Utilities Limited, KPMG, Mike Berkovich, Milan and Bob Berkovich, Unifor Local 444, Port of Windsor, Windsor Essex Community Foundation, the Rotary Club of Windsor Walkerville, and the Windsor Essex County Association of Realtors. Thanks also to our, yes, please. I also want to thank our design, build, construction, restoration, and other project partners. Those include Van Niferis, the late George Sophos, Rob Myers, Jamie Boudreau, Serge Legere, Mario Von Ray, the entire team at RM Auto Restorations. Folks, when you see this, you are going to agree with me that they are the best at what they do in our country. Dan Emaconi, Ryan Sterling, and the folks of Architectura Inc., Tony Lapico, Bruno Lapico, Daniel Shea, Patrick Perrin, and the team at Oscar Construction have done a wonderful job building this beacon. Chris Reno, the team at HCA Mindbox, and of course Bernie Drulard and John Stefani. Now, I want to give two other important mentions today. First, to the late Bob Pedler, who was our honorary fundraising chair and kickstarted the 351-day campaign back on the 100th anniversary of the streetcar. Second, to the late Lawrence Shepelwick, whose property housed car 351. You will see a picture of Lawrence inside on the wall talking about the history, and he had hoped to be here today, and he was there, and he owned the property and the streetcar when Bernie and John discovered it. Lawrence looked forward to being here, wanting to walk through the restored car and point out where his family had sat together for meals and lots of fun conversations, and I know he'd be very proud to see what's become of 351 today. Finally, I want to thank, on behalf of council, the community, the dedicated city staff members from all divisions. There's lots of city folks here, and lots of them played very important roles to help us get to this point today. We really couldn't have done it without them. You should all be very, very proud of what we've created together. Alongside this Civic Esplanade and Ice Rink at City Hall, the Legacy Beacon is one of the many initiatives that support economic development in the core and across our entire city. We're literally building Windsor's future while creating jobs, engagement opportunities, and positive spin-off impacts for business and for tourism. We are also reimagining the waterfront, not just as a scenic backdrop, but as a platform for connection, for community, and of course, for our heritage and culture. Here we honor our industrial roots while embracing new forms of innovation. Here we create spaces for storytelling, for education, for gatherings, and for beautification. Here we are continuing work that ensures Windsor's public spaces reflect the spirit of our people. And I'd like to invite Bernie Drulard to join me. Bernie, oh, I can't say your name today. I've talked to you 100 times. I've been in his basement. He's got the most amazing record of our transit history of anyone in this city is in Bernie's basement. He's a local railway historian, a recipient of an award of excellence from the Canadian Urban Transit Association back in 2020, and a key partner in this project from day one. And like I said, there is no one in the world who knows more about our transit history than this man here. So Bernie, would you please come up and share your story about
I'm not as tall as him, so I guess I'm going to say that this all started in 2007 when John and me got word there was a streetcar in the house in Belle River. We went out looking for it. And on our fourth try, we hit the previous 3 times, we couldn't find nothing. The fourth time, we were pulling in the driveway to turn around, and the front end of the streetcar was in the cardboard. And I said, John, we found it. And that was the start of it. And we kept quiet until 2015 when George called me and said he wanted a car. And we went out there and we looked for it. We knocked on doors, we found the owner, and he made the arrangements to get it, to bring to the car barn and won. And fortunately, John and me were there when they started to tear the house in the reverse order, building it down. And that's when we found out it was car 351. And what amazes me is that those people lived in a car that was only 7 feet wide. That's how wide their kitchen was. But they did. And then George had it, and then the mayor called me and was looking for a car, and I said, George is the only one. And this is the only last car of Windsor. This one is in the United States, and will never come back here. The other one is just a body up in Milton, Ontario. And so, like I said, this has been a dream for us. it took from 2007 to today to see the final finished product. So, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Dilkens, Mr. Drew Lard, for your vision and, of course, execution of this project. You know, a project of this magnitude can't simply happen and would not be possible without the support of the community and the many sponsors and donors that Mayor Dilkens just mentioned earlier, who have all contributed in one way or another to its success. Next up, to speak on behalf of all of those sponsors and donors of this project, please help me in welcoming David Pedler of Bob Pedler Real Estate, one of our outstanding supporters. David?
On behalf of our family, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to Mayor Dilkens for appointing my father, Bob Pedler, as honorary chairman of fundraising for this wonderful project. He was both proud and excited to be a part of it. Our dad was a passionate enthusiast of transportation, especially trains and cars. He was fortunate to see the completed streetcar at R&M Restoration and was truly amazed by how beautiful it turned out. He was a proud supporter of the city of Windsor and deeply honored to call Windsor home. This project meant a great deal to him. We'd also like to thank Nora Romero and the entire committee for the outstanding work that they have done. A special thanks goes out to the volunteers and sponsors and donors, which without this your dedication and commitment, projects like this would have never been off the ground. What a beautiful piece of Windsor's history. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say we're still collecting. So if you've got a check with you, please give it to the mayor. If you've got cash, I'll take it. All right, I'd like to call forward again Mayor Dilkens for a couple of special announcements.
Okay, this is the fun part for me. Obviously, opening the streetcars fun, but this is going to be fun too. So as the Legacy Beacon and Streetcar 351 began to take shape here at this amazing plot of riverfront land, I knew that we had an opportunity to do something more, something extra special. So in 2023, I asked City Council to consider naming this park after a community leader who played an important role in putting the pieces of the puzzle together when it comes to the riverfront preservation and thoughtful strategic waterfront development in the city of Windsor. Windsor's riverfront was once a thriving railway, industrial railway connection for industry, of course. And I wanted us to name this site to recognize the legacy of a person who was instrumental in assembling, the development, the completion, the preservation, the planning, and the programming of the riverfront. At that time, he was working with a 4.7 kilometer uninterrupted stretch of riverfront parkland. Over the years, the riverfront has undergone a metamorphosis, becoming an over 6 kilometer stretch of green space, parks, gardens, and play areas. It boasts outdoor public art, monuments and memorials, the Great Canadian Flag, and many more opportunities for public gathering and engagement. Much of that progress can be tied directly back to this person's vision for our waterfront and for our community. And that's why I'm proud today to announce that with Council's unanimous approval and endorsement, this park site will be named the Michael D. Hurst Legacy Park. Mike and Debbie and the family and loved ones are here with us today, and we're glad to have you. And for those of you who aren't from Windsor, former Windsor Mayor Mike Hurst entered civic politics in 1987, serving on City Council before he successfully ran for the mayor's seat in 1991. He served as mayor for 4 terms, with local media often describing him as the most influential citizen in the city at that time. While serving, Chrysler Canada announced plans to leave Windsor. Mayor Hurst stepped up and did the yeoman's work with the council of the day to identify a path forward and to champion a successful plan to keep this major headquarters right here in our community where they belong. After leaving office, he chaired the Detroit River Tunnel Partnership and was later appointed as a Justice of the Peace in Windsor. When Mayor Hurst received the prestigious Negative Award in 1998, many took the opportunity to reflect on his impact. Former Canadian Prime Minister Jean Chrétien said, "Over the years, you have demonstrated an unflagging contribution to the community of Windsor. Through your love of community, you have made an important contribution to your city and to your country. And I'm sure that your example serves as an inspiration to us all, and this tribute reflects indeed the high esteem in which you are held by your fellow citizens." Your goodwill and dedication to the betterment of society are recognized and deeply appreciated by all those who value community service. Former Prime Minister Chrétien. On a personal note, when Mike ran for office, I was a high school student at Windsor, Mass. And I was somewhat co-opted by John Allen at the time, along with some other students, to hand out flyers. And I gladly signed up. And so I worked on the campaign, several campaigns delivering flyers. And as he made the rounds asking the community to believe in his vision, I watched and I listened. And I was inspired by his leadership, his style, how he presented himself, and how he connected with residents. Most of all, I was inspired by his passion and his love for our beautiful city of Windsor. So it certainly means a great deal to me that we were able to now recognize him in this way. This park site includes an interpretive panel highlighting Michael Hurst's accomplishments over the years, including during his time as Windsor's mayor. You will be able to see the panel, which is being uncovered now as we make our way inside to the beacon. Mike, your community owes you a debt of gratitude for what you helped make possible at our riverfront and much more. And I'm very happy that we were able to celebrate you and your contributions in this way. Ladies and gentlemen, please help in welcoming former Windsor Mayor Michael Hurst.
Oh man. I'm joined here today by my beautiful wife, Deborah. My son, Cody. And my beautiful, magnificent daughter, Brittany. And you know what? Today is Brittany's birthday. I can't believe I'm being given so much credit. Stunning. I want to mention a couple other people who are with me today. My former chief of staff, the one and only Jane Boyd. What if I told you today is Jane's birthday as well? Back in the day, a long time ago, when Drew was just a little boy, the mayor's office brought in interns. And the person who made the decision as to what intern would be brought in a particular year, of course, was Jane Boyd. It wasn't me. And one of those turned out to be a superstar. My wife, after a couple of years, standing back and looking at what this young man had accomplished, gave me a nickname, Stevie Wonder. Steve Lackadine was an incredible young man. Thank you, Mayor Dilkens. I never in a million years thought it possible that I would have a public park named after me. And I can tell you, it is really quite something to have this happen. And so I thank Mayor Dilkens and all members of Windsor City Council for his generous and thoughtful tribute. I'm honored by it. And I am humbled by it too. To me, there is no more meaningful tribute one can receive than a tribute from one's hometown. In accepting this honor, I thank the waterfront warriors who came before us and who worked tirelessly to make a community dream a reality. A public park open to all on our riverfront from Ambassador Bridge to Highland Bucker and Sons. I think, for example, of Mayor Art Graham, Mayor Burt Weeks, Alderman Roy Battigello, who, by the way, happened to be my high school football coach. The Honorable Herb Gray, of course, Mr. Lou Odette, and Mr. Clifford Hatch Sr. In my view, true community heroes, each and every one of them. I wish as well to extend my thanks and congratulations to Mayor Dilkens and Council for bringing the Legacy Beacon to life. It will make, without question, a magnificent riverfront even more wonderful for the people of Windsor, their friends and visitors. And finally, I wish to commend the men and women of the City Park Department. For what? For their dedication in making and keeping our riverfront parks clean and beautiful and so inviting. Let me conclude by saying the Hurst family will cherish this honor for generations to come. And members of the media, if there are any questions in that regard, I refer you to my grandsons, Everett and Crew. Thank you.
I just want to get on the bandwagon here and say it's also my birthday. Now, former Mayor Hurst might be certainly one of his major accomplishments was this waterfront, but the other one was putting me in tourism and promoting me to the top job in 2003. And so he's to blame. But I'm forever grateful to you, Mike, I really am. And just as he had a nickname for Steve, I was a young 30-year-old when the corporation hired me, and he called me Golden Gordior. And I just think it's wonderful, this tribute, and I thank Mayor Dilkens for making it happen in City Council. Okay, every year we publish an official visitor guide for the region. It's the ultimate resource tool for tourists as they determine their trip planning itineraries of what to see, do, and experience in the region. 92 pages of compelling content and striking imagery. We print 45,000 copies annually. Each year we're tasked with coming up with an idea of an eye-catching image that would to grace our front cover that helps persuade visitors to pick it up and certainly make it a page turner. Well, you probably surmised what we thought of for this year. As luck would have it, we launch our guide every year this weekend at the Staycation Expo at Devonshire Mall, and we'll be there this weekend to give out the guides. But we're here today to officially launch the front cover of our 2025-2026 official visitor guide here at the Legacy Beacon grand opening. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our electrifying front cover. We took that picture before we knew Mike was going to be dedicated to the park, so we're going to Photoshop him in there. But, this is the official visitor guide. We've got copies here today. Hope you enjoy it and support local this summer season. Okay, and now, next up, we're in for a treat. I'm pleased to welcome two of Windsor's Poet Laureate Emeritus, Marty Gervais, and Poet Laureate Peter Rastovic, to share two poems with us in honor of this momentous occasion. Please welcome to the podium, Marty and Peter.
Hello, good afternoon, or good morning. Is it still morning? Yeah, it's still morning. And I'm not Marty. Marty's a good friend, of course, and a colleague. And the first thing I have to say is Mike Hurst, congratulations. Had I known, I would have written a poem for the occasion. But I'll have to go home and write one now. But anyways, congratulations, your legacy, and I know I've worked with you in the past, as lawyers, counsel, and through the community, and you've been stellar, and we really appreciate. Another big hand for Mike Hurst. And congratulations to your worship, Drew Dilkens, City Council, the administrators, the parks crew, as was mentioned, everybody who had something to do with this incredible beacon. I can tell you, those of you who know me, I cycle down here quite often. I love the riverfront, and I was watching this over the years as it was being built with excitement. I knew that it was going to be terrific. It's beyond my expectations. I can't wait to get inside, so I won't be too long talking to you, but I tell you the important thing about this project is that it's right here on our riverfront, where I like telling people where Canada begins, right here. Canada begins here. So congratulations. So the poem that I wrote for this occasion is a poem that talks about the streetcar, but it talks about it from the perspective of the streetcar, as if the streetcar had a voice. My poem is called Trolley Talks. Trolley Talks. I rode the lines electric, threading through the patchwork of border towns, crisscrossing a city, its neighborhoods, and the foundations of its rich history. In my comfortable coach, I welcomed elegant ladies, their chattering children, impeccably dressed men with wingtip shoes, captivated by newsprint, sitting alongside lunch-toting laborers, cooks, housekeepers, cleaners, clerks, and administrators by the hundreds. My riders, my charge. At every turn, we would get a whiff of greasy grit, oily machinery, and musty leather, the stench of heavy horses, the fusty smell of humanity, and a distillery emitting an earthy, yeast-like tang. And everywhere, the chafing noises of busy streets, rasping rails, combustion cough, the yip and holler of discordant voices. And what stories I have heard, the rumors shared, the gossip swapped, the slanders traded, the mindless dreaming slipping from tired tongues, and songs soaring from hopeful hearts. All these things experienced while tracking the decades of my being, rolling along in this boundless and restless state until they put me to sleep. All these things like secrets to the grave, fueling the engine of my existence, coveted stories meant to be revived from this sleepless dream. A vibrant reawaking of clanging bells and grinding metal and wheels screeching with ear-splitting intensity. This emergence from respite and hibernation, this roar to restoration to my rightful place.
Thank you, Peter. That was great. Back in 1979, I was putting together a book called The Rum Runners. And my poem today that I've written for this occasion is really a memory from one of those old rum runners I spoke to. His name was Whitey Benoit. Mind you, in the 1920s, he was only 16 years old. And he told me lots of stuff about the rum running period, and I wrote all of that. And I wasn't really interested in what he said about riding the streetcar, but I do remember it. It didn't go into the book, but I will share it with you today. And the poem is called Riding the SW&A to School in the Early 1920s, and it's for Whitey Benoit. Years ago, I remember this old downtown bookie claiming his father built the line that ran past the family's ramshackle roadhouse and brewery in LaSalle. And as a boy, he rode it for free, slumped in the seat way back at the rear, and how he would lean over to see the road behind him recede and fade away. The streetcar winding and turning and twisting and rumbling its meandering passage through Sandwich, past the Chapel House with its sweeping gingerbread verandas, past the red brick Gothic Sandwich Methodist Church, past St. John's Cemetery with its gray headstones gleaming in the whisper of the morning sunlight, and past the old courthouse and its nearby jail. And if he wasn't daydreaming, he'd be eavesdropping into the workers grumbling about their jobs or boasting of the unexpected winnings at the Devonshire racetrack, or he'd catch commuters reading the papers with headlines of politicians promising life getting a whole lot better. And after a while, he would simply press his boyish face to the trolley's smudged window in hopes that he might spot the river between the shops and homes just beyond, before the car breezed to a stop at Assumption Church. And once there, he'd leap from the steps to the street and nod a good morning to the ever impatient Basilian priest who paced outside in a long black cassock and hurried him and other boys to the boarding school. And back then, that was life along the line that defined each day with predictable and timely grace. I just wanted to add and echo what Peter said, and I want to thank Mayor Drew Dilkens and City Council for making this happen. I can't wait to have this pulled back so that we can see it. But it's a significant contribution to the history of Windsor, and generations to come will thank you for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter Harastovic and Marty Gervais. One more round of applause for our four laureates. Thank you very much. So, the Legacy Beacon is now officially open, and on behalf of the many individuals and organizations involved in making this vision a reality, we want to thank you all for joining us. But as we bring things to a close, a few housekeeping things. I want to let you know about this exciting weekend. We have planned for you to introduce this incredible space to the community. Following the ceremony, we invite everyone to follow Mayor Dilkens into the Legacy Beacon, where you can experience a piece of history, where you can learn about interesting facts of the streetcar number 351, and Museum Windsor guides will explore and help you explore the exhibitions, the artifacts, souvenirs, crafts, and more. Now, how about a round of applause for the incredible Windsor Symphony Orchestra Brass Quintet that played as we arrived. After we're done, they'll continue to entertain you as we make our way into the Legacy Beacon for the first time. And then the fun doesn't end here. We have a full weekend of activities and entertainment planned in celebration of this beautiful new addition to Windsor's waterfront. Delicious food and beverages will be available from our Legacy Beacon concession stand from 11 to 9, daily today, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Stop by for a bite to eat, a refreshing beverage, even alcoholic, and ice cream if you're so inclined on the patio. Museum Windsor will be here today through Sunday from 11 to 5, offering tours, informations, crafts, and souvenirs. We'll also be offering self-guided tours of the streetcar between the hours of 5 and 9. Each evening, our celebration will continue with live music on the patio from local entertainers between the hours of 5 and 9. And on Saturday and Sunday, we'll be featuring family entertainment for all ages from 1 to 3. So come out with the kids and actually bring the whole family. So once again, on behalf of Mayor Drew Dilkens, Windsor City Council, City of Windsor staff, and all the many sponsors and partners involved in this project, thank you very much for joining us today. This concludes our formal ceremony. Now let's head inside. Please follow Mayor Dilkens on the platform party. Thank you very much.
We're so happy to recognize you for your contributions. And you know what? I'm so proud of our history. And you should all be proud of our history too. We celebrate people like Tecumseh and Brock in the War of 1812. We celebrate Hiram Walker down the road for what he did, helping build a community that eventually became the city of Windsor. So we celebrate people. We can also celebrate our history, our transportation history. We are Canada's automotive and automobility capital. And whatever the guy on the other side of the river decides to do, that's not going away. And that automobility and automotive history goes back to 1886, being the first city in Canada to have an electric streetcar system. So if you will count down from 10 with me, we will raise the blinds behind me, we will go in, and we will celebrate our history together. 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,